he should go into therapy. And my dad was like, no, I'm not crazy.
See? And when you are, let's say, suffering from mental health, depression, and so on and so forth, they then start to lean and say it's voodoo.
Oh my gosh. What more can you be going through if you have a roof over your head?
I literally get nervous talking to my mom about certain topics.
Oh my gosh.
They really didn't believe in like mental health stuff.
What's up, everyone? My name is Aileen.
And I am Sal. Two cultures, one couple.
And a lot of stories our parents probably shouldn't hear.
That's crazy, right?
Sorry, Mom and Dad. This is the Sorry, Mom and Dad podcast. Today, we're going to talk about taboo topics, things that were off limits to really talk about when we were at home with our parents. You know, they just weren't prepared for those conversations yet.
Juicy.
Yes. So the first question is going to be, what were the top 3 things you couldn't talk about at home?
So just a little background about me, right? I am from Ghana. I'm also Muslim. So my
Enough
culture,
said.
right? My culture is gonna be like a lot different from a lot of people's culture. So because of that, some 3 things I felt like were taboo in my household was definitely having a girlfriend, right? It was
Okay.
also
So relationships?
yes, relationship. It was also intimacy, right? And
Same.
the last one I could think of is just having friends.
Having
Yeah,
friends.
because like I couldn't bring friends over to my house.
Okay.
And I just felt I didn't know how to ask why or why I couldn't bring friends over to the
Wow.
house. Yeah. So yeah, those are definitely my 3 topics. What about you?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I will agree also intimacy.
Okay.
I think when I was younger, relationships, but as I got
Mhm.
older, that kind of changed a little bit.
Okay.
I would say mental health.
Mental health. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good
So
one.
going to therapy.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that one. Yeah, I, even to this age, I feel like it's such like a fuzzy topic.
Yeah,
So
honestly, yes. And guys, I'm Ecuadorian, so I'm Hispanic, and you know, our parents just went through so much in their countries that I feel like they like to use the excuse of, oh, I went through the worst. Like, what more can you be going through if you have a roof over your head, if you have
right.
food on the table, if you have a family that loves you and cares for you? There's nothing that should be going wrong with you, basically.
Okay.
So, mental health was a huge one.
So you just spoke about mental health. Did your parents allow you to bring people home? Because I feel like we spoke about this a little bit, and you said they did allow you to bring. Like I remember you showed me the rooftop that you and your friends used to hang out in your building. So
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. So, if they allowed me to bring my friends home.
mhm.
So, my parents did allow me to bring some friends home.
Okay.
Obviously, the doors always had to be open because my dad did not
Oh.
want any little kids, any little boys, whatever, in our room. So, there were some rules that we had to follow for sure.
Okay. That's interesting because, for example, for me, right, I wasn't even allowed to bring any guys or girls to my house. There was just no friends at all allowed in my household. And I can't understand why, but
You should ask your mom.
I should.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a interesting topic for sure. That's gonna be an interesting topic. But that's how much of a difference in culture there is between your family versus my family because I just feel like even till this age, I literally get nervous talking to my mom about certain topics. Like, yo, y'all let me know, all the Ghanaians and all the Muslims in the comments, right? Y'all let me know. Do y'all feel, I guess, a little awkward when you guys are asking your parents some questions, even till this age, right? And yeah, so the other part of that question I wanted to ask you is, did you feel like you like your mental health was more stable when you were able to feel like you can socialize with your friends in your house and like your parents knew who your friends were?
Yeah, definitely. In life, I just think there needs to be a balance. And I know that some parents are a little bit more extreme,
Extreme, right?
but My parents did try and kind of break certain generational
Generational
things over
curses, right?
time. Not, I don't want to say it's a curse, right? But I mean, like, they just try to break certain barriers
Hmm.
because they wanted us to have a better future. They wanted us to be just more balanced as a person overall.
Okay, I like that. I
Yeah,
like that.
and honestly, my parents, it's so interesting that you said friendships because
Hmm.
my parents always wanted us to establish really good friendships. They
Mm.
always, my mom was also really realistic, so she would also say, be the friendly person that you are, but also make sure that you are keeping a good distance and watching how people move. So
Mm.
I felt like I was able to grow up with a good balance. And she always told me, in your life, you're going to make one really good
One
friend.
really good
And
friend,
I did
yeah.
make one really good friend. And we've been friends since middle school. So,
Your bestie, your bestie.
yes,
Okay, okay.
exactly. Yeah. So I feel like there was a balance in friendships. That was never an issue for me
For you,
personally.
yeah, not
Yeah.
me. To be honest, even to this age, my mom always tells me stories about, friends going somewhere and like drowning each other and stuff like that. And you know, that other Hispanic lady the other day on on the live video that got
Oh
unalive,
yeah.
right? Yeah, stuff like that. And remember, I was telling you, I was like, yo, don't tell my mom about this because this is like a very, because then she's gonna give me a whole rundown story about this is why friends and this and so like for her, the only friends that you can have are family members, your brothers, and I have three little brothers, so and the reason why I felt like I didn't really connect with them was because we're all 3 years apart. So if I'm in third grade, they're in like kindergarten. And because of that, I've always felt like I was a little bit ahead of them in terms of like maturity and so on. And I was
Yeah.
also the oldest, so I did have to grow up a little faster than everybody else. So yeah, stuff like
Being the
that.
oldest child, I would not want that. I'm the youngest, guys, and I love being the youngest.
Hey,
But
lucky you.
I
Lucky
will
you.
say, in life, period,
Hmm.
I do feel like parents try to prevent us from doing certain things instead of teaching us how we could distinguish. So, for example, your mom didn't want you to have friends like that because
Hmm.
she saw friends as being bad influences,
Right,
right?
right.
So she was
Misguided. Yeah.
trying to get you to not build those friendships instead of teaching you how you can pick and choose what a good
Exactly.
friend looks like.
That's a
Because
good
that's
point.
like a good trait as a
Yeah.
human. You have, like, you need human
You
interaction,
know,
you're gonna
yeah.
make friends,
You do. You
right?
do.
So like you need to be learning of, this is what a good friend does, this is what a bad friend does, this is what
Hmm.
bad people do. But I do feel you on the friends could also be bad influences.
Absolutely.
And my for example, my mom never ever ever ever, it don't matter, even my best friend Tiffany,
Hmm.
it don't matter if she was going to the beach, my mom never let me go to the beach ever. Also, sleepovers were a big no in my household.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I
Yeah,
can't even bring anybody over, you definitely know
that
that
was definitely,
there is no
right,
sleepover. So
right. So
yeah,
that was a big no. Friends could come over to us to sleep over, but we
but
couldn't
you
go over
guys,
to other people
oh wow.
because, yeah, no, I think the Hispanic families definitely know that you just never know what people are living in other households, right?
Oh,
So yeah, those were some big no's. So I felt like that was a good balance. And to be
mm,
honest, those are some things that I'm like, you know what? My children will not be sleeping over other people's houses because
that's
you
very
don't know.
interesting because I feel like it is actually so deep rooted that there are times when even when you go to someone else's house, it's like you have to look at your mom, like give her that look. Like if they're offering you food, for example, you gotta look at your mom and give her that look. Like, oh, is it okay for me to take this food from this household? Because like you said, you just don't know how people are living. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You don't know how they wash that chicken. And one thing that my parents were like 100% on was cleanliness because you like everybody does cooks or
Yeah.
washes their stuff in a bunch of different ways. And
Mhm.
yeah, she was very strict on that. And also, you don't want to be looking like a beggar. Like one thing you will not look like is a
Mhm.
beggar in front of other people, in front of my mom.
Mhm.
That's not happening. So yeah, I feel like those are certain things that just it just makes you realize certain things, and it's definitely, it varies from family to family,
Mhm.
right? But what you said is a fact, though. I do feel like a lot of families should lean more on teaching their kids on how to better pick friends, and, for example, what a good friend will do for you,
Mhm.
and what a bad friend may look like, or what,
Mhm.
someone that's just, let's say, using you may look like,
Facts.
and
Mhm.
versus someone that's actually just wants the best for you and the best interest for you as a friend. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I am able to read and distinguish what a really good friend is.
mm.
Or when a friend is acting a little shady, I'm like, hold up, this person
Right.
is not being a good friend. Are they genuine?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Did anyone ever talk to you about like emotions in your household?
ooh, okay. Yes. Yes
Mm.
and no. I don't know. My family's like very like half and half. They talked about emotions to a certain extent.
Okay.
So when we were feeling sad, we had a bad day,
Hmm.
we will sit down and maybe have a discussion. But then when it comes to depression, so when it comes to an extreme state, it's like, girl, you
Um.
can't be feeling like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
mom also, I think she tried to make me be like a big like fighter and be like, you can get through anything. But she does not realize that at the moment it just feels like you can't.
Yeah. You know what I feel like? I feel like in a lot of, like, let's say, Hispanic or like Black cultures,
Mhm.
especially like, let me speak on my own.
Mhm.
I feel like in African households, I feel like they just don't believe in mental health stuff, like
Mhm.
depression, anxiety. Like they would dare look at you like you're crazy. You're like, they would dare be looking at you like, what's wrong with you? And then when you are, let's say, suffering from mental health, depression, and so on and
Mhm.
so forth, they then start to lean and say it's voodoo.
Oh my gosh.
It's voodoo.
Wait,
Yep.
what?
Because now someone cursed you,
Oh my
someone put something on
gosh.
you, and now you don't know how to act. So you better get your act together. And they're gonna take you somewhere so they can pray for you, because now you sick. Now you sick. It's just crazy. But yeah, I just feel like
That
they just
escalated really quick.
no, like
Oh my
they really
gosh.
didn't believe in like mental health stuff, and I do feel like that is very, very important to just shine a light on that, and
Mhm.
just know when your kids are going through something, and just
Mhm.
how to be there to support them. And therapy is a big one. Therapy
Yeah.
therapy is a big one.
So I have a funny story. So a couple of years ago, right?
Okay.
My mom told my dad that he should go into therapy, and my dad was like, "No, I'm not crazy."
You see, that's what I'm trying to say. It's because they really associate therapy with
Being
craziness.
crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like,
like, bro, it's not even
"Sir,
that deep. Just
right." I'm like, "Sir, no, you are crazy for not wanting to help yourself." Like,
so is therapy something that you feel like you will seek, if or is this something that you practice?
I don't go to therapy, but I want to. I
You
feel
want
like
to?
it's something that I want to bring into my our
Oh,
family.
family. I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I
like
agree.
if our children are feeling a type of way, going through a hard time, or even like marriage counseling, things like that,
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
opposed to those things.
No, I
Yeah.
100% feel like before you get married, you have to go to marriage counseling. Right now, hey, it may have worked for a lot of people without going to marriage counseling, but I do feel
Mhm.
like marriage counseling is very, very important, because then you get to really, really dive deep into each other, things y'all like, things that can make or break you. And
Mhm.
I do believe marriage counseling is 100% needed before you get married. So that's definitely something that I would want to do before getting married for sure.
Yeah. So, okay, so since we lived with our parents for a long time,
Mhm.
and these were some taboo topics that couldn't be discussed. When you were going through a difficult time, how would you really cope through that at home? Like, what were things that you would do? Because now I need to know.
I just listened to a lot of music, which
Mm,
music was also another taboo.
I do
Which
love.
just
Wait, really?
yeah, music,
Hold
music.
up, stop. I don't know why that went over my brain for a little bit, but then I'm like,
In certain Islamic households, there's
Mhm.
just you're just not supposed to be listening to certain types of music because there's a lot of cursing, like fornications and just certain types of words that are being
Mhm.
said in soul music. So those musics may not be appropriate for you to listen to.
Mm.
So they like that's why you notice that a lot of the Muslims will like maybe listen to their cultural music and so
Mhm.
on and so forth because they know things that are being said in those music. And watching music videos especially definitely not allowed because if you think about it, it's a lot of things being shook in the video and so on and so forth.
That's
There's a lot of things
crazy.
like people walking around just not fully covered up. So a lot of those things, for example, me just watching TV and my mom walking past and there's like an intimacy scene, I gotta grab the remote and quickly skip that
Wait, really?
because yeah, it just wouldn't sit right with me. I would either feel awkward or I feel like she would say something
I
to
mean,
me
yeah, it's always
about
awkward.
watching. Right,
Yeah.
but like I feel like she would just say something to me about watching something like
I would not be able to survive in your household
that.
because my household, when it comes to music, first of all, we love music. We love every type of music and we listen to a lot of. So actually, like Saturday mornings, we would always play music
Play
videos.
music.
And obviously, my mom would clean. And as a family, we'll just be sitting listening to music,
Music.
vibing, listening to Shakira, listening to some cumbia. And let me tell you, these music videos were provocative.
Yeah, but I think what they try to do is try to hold on to it as long as possible until you get to a certain age where, let's say, you're able to watch those
Mhm.
things. I mean, obviously now when I'm listening to music, like pick my mom up in the car, she doesn't really say anything. My dad loves singing. That's one thing I noticed about my dad. He loves
Really?
singing. Yeah, so he used to be singing around
Aw.
around the house, and my mom also sings sometimes, but like she would sing more like house of music, which is my
Oh,
language
okay.
that I speak. She used sing more like house of music and so
Mhm.
on and so forth. But you would definitely not hear them listening to Drake
Okay, yeah.
or Chris Brown.
Yeah, no,
And
my parents either. When it comes to rap, I
mhm,
feel like maybe our parents are more comfortable in their cultures,
that is true.
listening to
Maybe.
like their cultural music.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, my parents will love, like I mentioned, cumbia, bachata,
Mhm,
merengue. We'll listen to all those Hispanic type of genres,
mhm.
and sometimes in the music videos, it wasn't anything crazy, but maybe they'll have like a bra and a skirt with for their outfits, and they'll be like, shaking their hips or
Right.
something, or something like that. So it wasn't anything like super crazy
Crazy.
that they'll expose us to.
Mhm.
But okay, we also used to grow up watching novelas. And in
Oh.
novelas, obviously, one, they're so dramatic, but two, there's always like kissing scenes and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, like I remember feeling awkward, but like my parents wouldn't like fast forward. Like we used to be watching novelas with them.
That's crazy. Like I told you,
Yeah.
I've never even seen my parents kiss. Even till this age, they've always done these stuff in secret. I don't know
Mm,
why. I don't know if it's because they don't want us to be exposed to it. To be honest, I don't know if it's because of the religion. Like
yeah.
I have no idea why. Because I've seen other people from my religion to kiss each other,
Like
hold hands,
affection.
right? Affection. But I haven't seen that from my parents themselves. I don't know if my brother's seen it, but I don't know.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but going back to your question about how I cope with my emotions, I listen to music. Sometimes I just love being by myself, watch a show that would just take my mind off what is
Oh, he's
happening
very
currently.
much a movie kid. He
I'm
has
not a
watched every
hey,
movie on Netflix.
hey, listen, good way to just escape what's happening to you in the moment, right? Listening to music is a good way to, just calm down.
Yeah.
Playing sports, I'll go out,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Play
That's a good way.
basketball, play soccer. I play a lot of sports, so I've always found joy in playing sports, and I feel like that's how I was able to cope in a lot of like stressful times and times that I was going through a lot of things. So yeah. What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah. What ways I would cope with mental health? Just going outside for a walk or something.
Okay.
And I think maybe that's why I did lean on some of my friends. Like I would,
Mm.
me and my best friend Tiffany literally would just walk to Manhattan, like for no
Wait,
reason.
wait, wait.
Like we would just walk. Yeah, we crossed the bridge and we would walk to
Oh,
Manhattan.
I mean, you live right there
Yeah,
in Williamsburg, so okay.
yeah.
I don't know why I was picturing you walking from like the Bronx all the way to
Okay, no,
Manhattan. I'm
that's
like,
crazy.
what is it, a marathon? Like, what, this is a
No, we would
marathon?
just walk. Music was really big for me.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I honestly will say I didn't have like a super harsh time where I felt
Mhm.
like I felt stuck,
Right.
you know. If worst comes to worst, I think my parents would have had that conversation of
Mm,
depression or whatever it was that I
mhm,
was going through if I was going through it,
mhm.
but thank God it never
Yeah.
got to that point.
So you felt like you can always express yourself because your family is super expressive in terms of their
Mhm.
emotions. Like, yo, y'all love crying. All of y'all cry a lot. Like you cry for every little thing. Your mom probably cries for every little thing. Your dad probably cries. Like your whole family. And just being with you, I've learned a lot on how to express my emotions.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's just not something that I was used to, right, growing up in my household because it was just always be strong, be tough. Like I've
Mhm.
I've never seen anybody else express it. Like I barely see my mom cry. The one time I saw my mom cry was when I did something and there was like an argument that was going on between, like, for example, me and my dad, and she was just very furious and she was telling me to stop. So because of that, she shed like tears in those moments, and
Wow.
yeah, that was the time when I really saw her like really
Yeah.
expression how she felt. So yeah,
Wow. That's so interesting. Yeah. I will say like I've probably seen my mom cry a lot,
yeah,
but I mean, listen, we all are always working on a balance and yeah, we're just trying to be better. But on that same topic, the last question that I wanted to ask you is
okay, hit me with
what
it.
taboos do you want to break in the future generations?
I said like when I have kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I have kids, I definitely want my kids to feel like they could come to me about anything. I'm going to definitely be more expressive in terms of my emotions to my kids because I don't want my kids feeling like they can hide stuff because that's when they become really sneaky. Because think about all
Yeah.
the things that I've done or have did.
Mhm.
My mom doesn't truly know what it is that's been going on in my life or what I really do when
Yeah.
she's not around. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like you said, instead of some parents taking time, right? For example, my parents taking time to really teach me, like, all right, here are like good friends, here are things that, maybe you shouldn't really pursue here, things that you shouldn't really do, or like, hey, if you do this and you're feeling this, it's okay for you to come to me and speak to
Mhm.
me about it, and we could all just figure it out together.
Yeah.
So that is something I definitely want to bring to my future kids, right? I want them to be able to come to me about certain things. I want them to be able to talk to me about certain things, and whenever they're going through something, I want them to be able to know that, hey, I am going to be there for them no matter what it is, right?
Mhm.
Yes, I'm definitely going to teach them right from wrong. I'm going to guide them, right? But ultimately, it is their decision on what they feel like is right or wrong. But all they can do is rely on my guidance. And whatever it is, therapy, talking about intimacy, um, literally anything. Like I would love my kids to come to me about anything or about how they feeling about anything. So, what
Yeah.
about you?
I'm literally on the same boat. I feel
Mhm.
like I want to have that connection
Mhm.
with my kids and I want
Yeah.
to be able to have those harsh conversations
Mhm.
because nothing is worse than when you are going through a situation and you feel like you're
Right.
alone
That's
and you
deep.
feel like you're stuck
Yeah.
and the your parents who you know who love and care for you, it's not like you don't want to open up to them, but it's just it feels like you can't.
Yeah, it also makes you feel betrayed,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody is like now starting to. make you feel like you're letting them
Exactly.
down or something.
Right. And thank God. So guys, I have an older sister. So
Mhm.
she's probably been like my therapist, honestly.
Yo, when you brought up the therapist, and then I asked
Yeah.
you, like, is therapy something that you will get into? And I thought about it. I'm like, yo, honestly, you and I talking to each other on the day to day basis on how our day has been in at
Yeah.
work, after work, or just in general, has been our little therapy session. Yes,
Yeah.
it's not professional therapy, but whenever you're talking to someone about anything, I
Right.
do feel like you are expressing
Mhm.
yourself and your emotions, and that person is there being your emotional support. Whether they're just listening, or y'all just talking, both of you guys are just talking about the things that you guys are going through. I do feel
Mhm.
like provides that emotional stability for you, or that emotional support for you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Right. So literally my sister is only 1.5 years older than me. So she has always been the person to advise me or maybe guide me
Mhm.
when I'm going through just a hard time in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, this was a nice conversation. It
This
was
this was
very
a nice
therapeutic.
convo, very very therapeutic. I feel much better. I'm talking to you about some of these things.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, there goes our therapy session.
But we want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into our first episode. We will see you in the next episode on Sorry Mom and
On
Dad
that podcast,
podcast.
make sure you guys comment, subscribe, turn on those live notifications, and let us know any topics you guys want us to talk about. And we got you guys. All right. All right. See y'all next time on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.